If you ask me what is the most difficult in teaching how to drive, I would answer that the most difficult is neither the left turns, nor the U-turns, and nor the parking in reverse. The most difficult is to teach how to change the lanes. When I start talking about changing lanes, everyone claims that he or she does not understand the distance in the mirror to the car from behind. I reply to this that it's not necessarily to understand this distance at all. However, if you are still wondering what the distance should be, you have to understand the speed of the car behind you to understand the time when this car reached you. So, you do not have to do such calculations on the road. To what all this? And do not be obsessed with the question of the distance to the car behind you. There are other different reference points to make a decision regarding changing a lane, as well as a pretty reasonable way to execute maneuvering. You have to understand not the distance to the car behind you, but the distance between the cars in the nearby lane where you are going to move. For instance, the first and the second cars drive close to each other. The next one, third car, is close to the second car as well. But the distance between the third and the fourth cars is bigger than the distance between the previous cars. So you have to move into this gap. And it's not necessary to know the distance between your car and the fourth car. The plan of action is as follows. Do not reduce the speed. If there is a room to move, move there with the same speed as before. Do not slow down. Let the first car and the second car go. When the third car is close, the turn signal must be on. The third car is nearby, on the side. You should speed up. Do it intensively. You must run away from the fourth car. If you catch the third car, you will be like hooking on the tow hitch. So the first car will not be able to overtake you. The cars move with the same speed. You should be able to speed up and not to be afraid of it. The main thing is to have a room to accelerate. If there is a traffic light ahead, or a pedestrian crossing, or a traffic jam, then this trick will not obviously be suitable. But if everyone is moving, and it's unlikely that the stream of cars breaks, you should accelerate to catch the car you missed, to be able to run away from the one behind you. If, for instance, you move to the gap between the cars without acceleration, then the car behind you catches you in no time. You are a handicap for this car, which is not good. But if you use the trick, you accelerate, then the car behind you might be able to catch you, but not in 1-2 seconds, but in greater than 10 seconds. And this is not a crash situation. If at the end there is the last car and you cannot see anyone else behind it, then it makes sense to slow down and wait. All this concerns the cars that are moving in a nearby lane, in the lane where you would like to move in. You should not wait until the cars driving behind you in your lane overtake you. If your turn signal is on, then these cars usually wait until you change the lane. What for? To thank you when you leave the lane. Another interesting trick, which I call changing lanes under the cover. If you see that someone does not move in the lane where you want to move in, then drive this car past and immediately change the lane. Do not let the car behind you to do so earlier than you. You are ahead, and it's easier for you. Surely you have to turn the signal on in advance to warn about your intentions. This trick works as good for the left side as for the right side. If the car ahead does not stay but moves slowly, you can use the same trick. You overtake and change a lane under the cover. But there is a danger in the case of motion in multiple lanes. From the opposite lane, someone can also execute the trick of changing lanes under the cover, and you can act it simultaneously together to go to the free place from different lanes. I use a panoramic mirror in this situation. You should be careful in this case. Once again, this danger can occur in the case of multiple lanes, when you change the lane under the cover, if the car driving slowly or abnormally staying in the middle lane. If the overtaking car is in the last lane, there is no such a danger.